Alright guys, welcome back to the Dark Souls 3 walkthrough, Indiana Jones style. Let's go ahead and dump all the souls we have into wood bolts. These are the cheapest bolts. We'll just get as many as we can. Trust me, you're going to need a lot of ammo, not just in this Ashes of Ariandel DLC, but also in the Ring City DLC. Go ahead and make sure you burn all of your undead bone shards. You should have 8 at this point. Now, I'm going to start editing out all of the loading screens. It'll be much easier flow that way. Now, in the Ashes of Ariandel, every enemy is weak to fire, so pick your favorite fire weapon, whatever it is. For me, I'm just going to go with the bandit knife for now. Now, there are a few paths to take in the beginning here, but we're going to take the shortest route to get to the chapel. So there's a lot of things that we're kind of leaving on the table here. The whole forlorn area with the tower and everything, we're not even going in that direction. We're just going to stick to the left here, follow the path around. There's a bug here you can kill, and there's a poison gem here. We're not going to really engage in any enemies right now. We're just going to follow this path to get to the chapel. There is a spell and another item over here you can get if you want to. Once you have this floor collapse, once you pick up this item, the floor will collapse. Very important to pan the camera and go up this hill right here. Right here. There'll be some dogs, but you can just avoid them. Now there's a shiny over here. Now, down here is a spell. Most every spell you find in this DLC is going to be frost-based. There'll be a bridge that leads to the chapel. That's pretty much it for the first area. But we cut out a significant portion. Like I said, there's a lot of areas we didn't explore. The forlorn area that has ridiculous enemies which we're not interested in fighting right now. What I'd like to do is later, when I become more powerful and more comfortable with fighting the tougher enemies, I'll come and explore areas near the end of the game if I want to or whatever. Unlike Dark Souls 1, it retains a nice option from Dark Souls 2 where you don't have to go directly into New Game Plus after beating the game. You can do whatever you want, and then when you're ready, you can activate the second cycle. Over here is a hollow gem. This scales with luck. Now this NPC right here at the door, he will be your enemy later. We'll have to kill him, but not right now. Now we're going to get into the chapel and talk to Sister Fried, and she will give us a ring, a chill bite ring. This will decrease frost buildup. This ring can come in quite handy for the next couple of boss fights because both bosses will use frost-based spells against you. You'll just have to exhaust Sister Fried's dialogue in order to get the ring. There you go. Now we're off to kill our first boss of the DLC and to obtain our first Titanite slab, which we will use on the whip. By the time we complete this DLC, we will have 3 Titanite slabs. This is one of the main reasons I wanted to come to the DLC early. And then in the Ring City, there are 4. So that's 7 Titanite slabs just by coming to the DLC. But in addition, going into the Ring City DLC, we'll be able to get the best rings in the game. Now, just like the catacombs, you got to knock down the Indiana Jones bridge and descend it. This will take you into the depths of the painting. It's kind of treacherous down here, guys. The path that you have to take to get to the bottom is very dangerous because you got to descend on this tree, on these tree branches, but there are forlorn shooting explosive arrows at you, and it's just, you can get knocked off very easily. I like to plunge attack this guy and finish him off with Chaos Blade so he doesn't follow us. But right here, don't lollygag around these branches very long because you will get shot. You'll see arrows start to whiz by your head just like that. And this crystal lizard, don't worry about him. He will kill himself and give you the item. Just follow him off the... As long as he drops off the ledge, you'll get it. There's an ember here if you want to get it, but take care. You're kind of on a time limit here. because they're going to be shooting at you from every direction. You want to jump down right here, follow this path around, be very careful. Don't run, just walk, but don't waste any time. There's going to be an enemy come from the left here. These are followers with torches. They're a pain in the butt. I hate these guys. And then you got the Forlorn shooting at you from here with the explosive arrows. Just drop down, make sure you're really close to his feet before you drop, and locate the bonfire and get to it as fast as possible. And be careful, he can still shoot you with his explosive arrows if you don't run to the bonfire. And there's some crabs down here too, so you just want to get to the bonfire and rest at it. Now we're going to go get the slab. Now, getting this Titanite slab is cryptic. It's not easily findable. Go ahead and equip the sword ring so you can do some extra damage with the bandit knife. You're going to use the bandit knife or the demon fist, whichever you prefer. And don't aggro this crab towards you. Just run around him wide. Just don't engage him. Just keep running. Oh, you'll see some trees that look like witches. They're witch trees, I guess. Don't engage them just yet. We're going to run down this path here. Yeah, so the cryptic part of getting the slab is a ladder will appear after you kill this specific tree. You have to kill this specific tree, and then a ladder will appear that leads to the slab. So what I like to do is just waste my entire stamina bar, but kind of don't attack it very fast because you want to make sure you don't run out of stamina. But as long as you're using a fire weapon, it will writhe in pain, and it'll drop a spell. And I like to kill the other trees along the way because they will go aggro on you now. This tree, the rest of the trees are not as hard to kill as the first one. Except for the tree that's next to the ladder that appears. That's the most aggressive one. But if you empty your stamina bar, they won't be able to do anything. They're stun locked basically. But this is the most aggressive one. It's already firing at you when you get to it. Rinse and repeat. We're going to have to let our stamina recharge a little bit. And there you go. So this is a very long climb up this ladder. So while we're climbing this ladder, let's talk about some of the amazing items that we're going to get in this DLC and in the Ring City DLC. In the Ring City DLC, once we kill Midir, we're going to get the Soul of Midir, which will allow us to craft the Frayed Blade, which is objectively better than the Chaos Blade. So it will replace the Chaos Blade once we get it. It also does dark damage, which is another cool a bonus. But the moveset for the Frayed Blade is so ridiculously awesome. I actually replaced the Chaos Blade once I got it. It still doesn't scale as good as Chaos Blade, but the moveset alone made me forget all about the Chaos Blade. And it doesn't hurt you per slice, so that's another bonus. And we'll also be able to get arguably the best crossbow in the game once we kill Slave Knight Gale. Although it degrades very quickly, which, we can always use another crossbow if we want to. But those are two really good weapons. In addition to the slabs we're going to get, it's just too good to pass up the DLC. And this is our first Titanite slab, number 1 out of 14. Now, there are 15 slabs you could get in the playthrough. But like I said before, I'm not trading the coiled sword fragment to the crows. It's too priceless. I guess if you wanted to, you could do it right before entering New Game Plus, because you could get another coiled sword fragment by going and kill Champion Gunder again. He'll be a lot harder on New Game Plus. Now we have a fully upgraded Sharp Whip plus 10. Amazing. Now let's go ahead and get some more bolts. Now we're on our way to kill our first boss. Now this boss, guys, can be difficult for newcomers. It's a fight that you have to kind of divide your attention between two enemies. But the really easy way to kill this boss is to take care of the first guy as fast as possible before the second guy shows up. But that's not always going to happen. But there is some tips I'm going to give you guys that'll help you make this boss kind of easy. Now, the first thing you want to do is have your rings and your equipment sorted. So we're going to be using the whip and the Chaos Blade. We're not going to use Arbalist. I should have actually equipped it. But what you want to have is the Hornet Ring for sure. We're going to have the Sword Ring, and we're going to have the Horse Hoof Ring. With all these rings, we're going to do tremendous damage to the first enemy. The first enemy has a shield, so we can be able to kick the shield out of the way, riposte him, and we'll do upwards of 600 damage, maybe more depending on if you have full health, to take advantage of the Sword Ring. And when the wolf comes in, we'll just whip the NPC because he's not going to really be looking at us. He's going to be trying to spam spells from a distance. So he's going to be open to the whip, and he really, like I said, once the wolf comes in, he's susceptible to the whip for some reason, more so than he is in the first phase. So horse hoof ring in the first phase, and then second phase we'll just use the whip on him to dispose of him, and then deal with the wolf by himself. Now, there is no fog wall in this fight. You're just going to walk into this little area right here, and you see I died here. There'll be 3 wolves that attack you right off the bat. So you just kind of use your whip to take them out. A fully charged whip can take all of them out at once and get them all. Now, you want to switch to Chaos Blade, and you don't want to engage him unless he is walking in that manner right there. If he's got his sword above his head, don't try to kick his shield out of the way. He'll go into 2 modes. He'll have his relaxed mode and his aggressive mode. This is his aggressive mode. That's his relaxed mode right there. You can kick him. When he's got his shield down by his side and his sword is not above his head, you can go in for the kick. Don't try it otherwise. Right there, you're not going to engage him here. Just kind of wait for him to get done attacking, and then when he's walking like that, you can go in for the kick. I missed the kick there. You don't want to attack him right there. There you go. Right here's where you go in. I missed it. I don't know how I didn't get that kick. Again, when he's got his sword and his shield by his side, you can go in for the kick. And look at the damage we just did to him in just 3 ripostes. Now, switch to your whip. One-handed R2s only. It's the easiest way to hit him. And just when the wolf appears, just get behind cover, kind of separate the 2 enemies as much as you can. We're going to use Chaos Blade on the wolf once we dispose of the other guy. I mistimed my dodge there. You have to kind of learn his moveset. He'll do these charges where if you don't dodge his charges, you're going to get hit really hard. It's going to hurt really. There it is right here. It was kind of a cluster right here, but you'll see him do it later. Try to get distance from him, from the first enemy, and just use your R2s until he's disposed of. Just kind of run around the pillar to separate the 2 enemies, and just get a good shot in when you can. And he's done. Now we're Chaos Blading this wolf from here on out. It's much easier to kill this boss once you take out the other guy. So we want to bleed out the wolf. It won't take long. But here's the charge right here. He'll do 2 of them, and then he'll have to recover for a second, so that'll give you a chance to go in for some really good hits. Now, in his second phase, he'll start spewing some ice, and then he'll go straight into his charges again. It's pretty much every time he's going to do this. Just make sure you don't get hit by that charge. It's very painful when you get hit by that. Use the pillars for a chance for a breather, and heal when you can. Again, just wait for those charges. And just roll to the sides. And that's pretty much it. That's all the moveset for the wolf. Said the main thing is to just make sure you take out that other guy, because he's going to be spamming spells at you from a distance. And it's quite annoying to deal with. And that's it. A little nod to Sif from the first game. They even have a grave to boot. Right here. Artorias and Sif reference. Okay, now, on to the next portion of our journey. We're going to go to the Corvian settlement. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and start leveling up. We want to do endurance right now. And the reason is because we want to make sure that we're able to dish out a little more hits for these next bosses coming up, because the next two bosses are some of the most difficult in the game, in my opinion. Especially the second one. Once we get to the Ring City DLC, that one just gave me so much problems. But I found an easier way after consulting the internet. I didn't know there was a special way you could fight the boss. Again, we're just going to buy, with our garbage souls, we're buying bolts. Well, we want the big bolts. Buy as many big bolts from Grey Rat as you can. You should be buying them already, but he'll ask to pillage, but we're going to say no for now. Yeah, just keep stocking up on bolts as much as you can. Of course, after leveling up. Now on to the Corvian settlement. Now this area is filled with a lot of dead birds for some reason. I guess they're called Corvians, but a lot of them are maimed and injured and sick and dying or whatever, and it's kind of depressing. But there's also Freddy Krueger, and Freddy Krueger with a rapier as well, and these guys are not easy to deal with, and they will kill you so fast. There are two variations. Freddy Krueger with his claws and Freddy Krueger with his claws and a rapier. Which one do you want to fight? The one with the rapier is a lot more aggressive and a lot more dangerous. But Demon Fist will be our saving grace for this next area. You'll want to have Demon Fist, and if you want, you can even throw on the Fire Clutch Ring and Pontiff's Right Eye to ensure that you're doing the maximum amount of damage on these guys as possible, because they will end your life in a blink of an eye. Also, make sure to have the Sword Ring and maybe even the Blood Bite Ring to prevent bleed buildup if you're struggling with these guys coming up. Now down here on this, go down this ladder here, and there's a Shriving Stone at the back here. You can get it if you want. You don't have to. It's all it is a Shriving Stone. They can be useful if you want to respec an item. But there's some bugs that are just hanging out up here. We're just going to shoot them from distance so they don't ambush us. The game wants you to just run for the shiny and not notice them just hanging up here. Arbalist will get them to come down and just finish them off. They can drop human pine resin. But there's your Shriving Stone. Now, the followers with torches. You're going to see a lot of these guys later on, but these guys are very hard to deal with. In fact, I don't even try to engage them in melee range. I try to just shoot them with the Arbalist. And this guy's just got a large Titanite shard, I think. He'll just fall. But yeah, the followers with torches, they're so annoying because later on they'll call for reinforcements and every enemy in the area will come at you. But they have a sword, and their sword is just so hard to avoid. I gotta tell you guys, this is one of the most annoying enemies in the entire game, and I've beaten the game now, so I can tell you that I hate these guys. I hate them so much. But yeah, Arbalist, I usually just try to use Arbalist when there's a bunch of them. Use the whip here, but these guys are a pain in the ass. They really are. Now, down this slope, there's an item. As soon as you get down the slope, there's one off to the right. Now, Freddy Krueger's coming up, but we're just going to run through the birds. We're not going to fight them. They're maimed and dying. It's just really depressing to look at even. So some of them look already dead, and they'll just, as you walk by them, they'll start screaming. But they're not a threat in any fashion. So here we go. Freddy Krueger. The best way to deal with him is to spam your special attack with the Demon Fist. He'll be stunned and he won't be able to do anything about it. As soon as you get one hit on him, it's over. Just try to heal in between attacks if you want to, if you have to. Make sure to follow up with the right trigger because the game won't automatically do that slam into the ground. You'll have to manually do it. So left trigger, then right trigger. And he's done. You can fight him any way you want, but for me, that's the best way. I'll just put him out of his misery. There's a bonfire up here, and our friend that will give us a Titanite slab once we beat Sister Freed and Father Ariandel. Just exhaust his dialogue. And then we'll make our way to the bonfire, which is in the building to the left as soon as you exit the room here. That item above our head, we'll get that shortly. We're not going to rest at it. Our Estus is looking pretty good, so we're going to cross this bridge here and stick to the left. Now take care, get your whip out and whip through the wall, because this guy will try to push you off the ledge. And this guy does toxic. Try to deal with him from a distance. Now there's a weapon up ahead that the Corvians with the claws use. It's called the Crow's Quills. It's a thrusting sword, so if you want it, if you're using a dex build and you want the weapon that the Corvians are using, it's right up here. There's nothing over on this side of the building. I'm not even sure why I fought these guys. They're just fun to take out, I guess. Make a good strong leap over here. Or you can roll off, actually. And get the item. Now, I like to get Arbalest out here because this guy will toxic you. Quite annoying to deal with. But with Arbalest, we can do it from a distance. No problem. And we have plenty of ammo. At least we should have. We've been stocking up since the beginning, so you're going to be using Arbalest quite a bit in the next couple of DLCs. So making a good leap here onto this plateau and get the Crow's Quills. And back to the bonfire we go. Now our next main objective is to open up a gate. But along the way we're going to open up some doors that were previously shut. You couldn't open them from the side they were on. So we have to come in through another way to unlock these two doors in front of us. The one was right there. And they contain items, so you want to get them. Now, don't go too far because Freddy Krueger's coming in for his massacre, so you don't want to be part of that. Now, be careful right here because another Corvian is going to try to push you off. So, whip for the win again through the wall. And this one actually tries as well. There's going to be some Corvians falling in, like raining in from the top. I'm not sure where they're coming from, but they're no threat whatsoever. Now this guy up here does do toxic, so again, take care. I don't think we have any blooming purple moss on us, but we are going to stock up before the Ring City DLC, that's for sure. Now on these rooftops you're going to have some casters, and they'll just continuously pelt you with magic, so we're going to take them out strategically. So we're going to peek around the corner here, take out these two right here. And then below us, you're going to have the casters. There's one right here. And that's it. Now the first item is down here. You don't want to take the stairs, the ladder just yet. Just drop down here, but watch out. Just get to the door because you're going to get ambushed. Much easier to take them out from the entrance of the door. Again, they're going to use toxic. Just funnel them all towards the door if you want. But the game wants you to just go for the item and then get sandwiched between all of these toxic Corvians. Most likely will die. You'll get the Slave Gale set. You will fight him later in the Ring City DLC. Now we got one of the doors open, and now we're going to go back the way we came. And this time we're going to go up the ladder. Again, watch out for Freddy Krueger coming up. Get Demon Fist out just in case you have to engage him, but I usually just try to go through stealthily. I don't like fighting this guy. He's got that crow's quill plus his claws, and he is not to be reckoned with. Just avoid for now. Sometimes in Dark Souls it's better to just run away instead of fighting. Pick your battles. I don't know where these guys came from. Another caster came. Now there's going to be a Freddy Krueger guy up here, but we'll kill him. And there's also Crystal Lizard here, which I missed, but I don't think it's anything that important. But you want to snipe him. He's hanging up on the wall there. Just get him to come down and get Demon Fist out and get ready to give him the fire treatment. He can jump on your head too, so be careful. And like I said, they do build up very quickly, so maybe the Blood Bite Ring would be a nice option for you. Try not to go off the edge here too. Just kind of back up. I've actually fallen off trying to fight this guy before. Here's your other item that you'll need to drop down and get. Some gold coins. You don't have to come down this way, but they can help with item discovery. I don't think you can buy the gold coins though. You have to actually farm for those. But if you're farming, you're definitely going to need coins. But rusted regular coins are going to be the easier ones to get because Patches sells them. Now back the way we came. I'm putting on the blue Tearstone ring here because I'm scared. I'm scared of these guys coming up, guys. Because you got to drop into a room with two Freddy Kruegers, and one of them has got a rapier, well, got the crow's quill, and it's just not, it's not advisable to stick around for too long. So what I like to do is just go for the door, but my objective is to go through the door and get outside and get to the gate and open it. That's your main objective, is just to get to the gate and open it. So you want to drop down here. Don't get the item, it's not worth it. Well, you can get the item later. You want to get to the door because there's two of them down there, like I said, and get as close to the door as possible. And I like to just roll off and open the door, and then we're going to continue to run towards the gate. Now I did die here, so I'm going to do a quick edit once I get to the gate. But your main objective, just get to the gate. Open this gate here, and at this point it doesn't matter. But I was killed by Freddy Krueger here, so we're just going to edit this out. Now that the gate is open, we can go and kill the NPC that we saw at the beginning at the church. Now, he's going to heal, and there's nothing you can really do about it because it's a spell. It's not Estus. Just run past Freddy Krueger, let him do his thing. Here's where I met my demise. But you want to use your whip from a distance, double hand it, and we're going to use that. We'll have to re-ember here. He's not particularly hard to deal with. Just whip from a distance, double-handed R2s. But like I said, he's going to heal 3 times, and there's nothing you can do about it. So You're just going to continuously do this attack. Now when he's healing, you can go in for a couple of hits. But always just try to stay out of his range. And having the whip is a huge advantage because look at the reach the whip has in this game. I don't think a lot of people appreciate how good the whip is in Dark Souls. Well, it wasn't that great in Dark Souls 1, but in 2 and 3, it's fantastic. It almost trivializes the game, to be honest. For some enemies, like this guy. You can't do anything. Just stay away from him. I don't think he's got any more heals left. Yeah, he can't heal no more. Don't get hit too much. Yeah, I got greedy here and didn't take care. Let's go ahead and heal. The blue tearstone ring saved me. Now we can go meet the painter. You'll get the onyx blade, which is a pretty cool weapon. We're not going to use it, but just use this contraption key. And the painter, who had been locked away previously, is now free. She'll relocate to the chapel later. Now this door will not open from this side. You'll have to get to the other side. Now for this next part, guys, it's a cluster. There are so many enemies in this pass, in this mountain pass, that you can fight them if you want to, or you can run past them. Now I fought them just to kind of show you how to go about doing it, but it's much easier to just run to the next section. But we're going to fight them just for the sake of the walkthrough. We want to redo our ring setup for this area. We're going to use Chaos Blade. We're going to use the Horse Hoof Ring because there are enemies with shields here. And I think that's pretty much it. We're going to use Arbalest quite a bit because the torch guys will call for reinforcements. But I've noticed that not all of them do it. So if you engage in combat with one of them and they have aggroed on you, they won't call for reinforcements. So what I like to do is shoot the first guy as he's walking, and the other guy won't even aggro towards you. So this guy will just come at you. We'll just shoot him until he's done. And the other guy will just walk away. Now, there's an item over there. We're not going to deal with it. Now, this is a little tricky. The guy always calls for reinforcements up there. So what I like to do is just kind of let them walk by. I'm going to stand right here and use a gesture to stay out of sight. Because if he calls for reinforcements, every enemy in the area will come at you. I've had as many as 6 or 7 guys just swarm me, and it's not fun to deal with. Like I said, you could run past this area, which is probably the easiest thing to do. But right now, I'm just going to show you the stealthy approach, I guess. We're just going to sit down and wait. And here he comes. That's the guy that will always call for reinforcements if he sees you. So I just don't like to deal with him. He'll eventually stand by another guy that's sitting down, and you can take them both out with Chaos Blade very quickly. But there's a shield guy on the way too, so really there's no way to avoiding all of these enemies. So we're just going to go up and just take them out quickly. But like I said, once you've started attacking, the torch guy will not call for reinforcements. I use the strong attacks to take them out quick. Now we can get our favorite method of dealing with these guys into play. Now for the other guys, well, let's take out this guy. These spear guys, they're very easy to avoid if you know that they're there. If you just strafe left to right, they'll never hit you with their spears ever. Now whenever you have a torch guy and a shield guy together, I always like to take out the torch guy first because in my opinion he's the more difficult enemy. because his sword attacks just never seem to stop. He just keeps going and going and going. It's very hard to avoid sometimes. Like, see, like I don't even know how I got hit by that one. He just keeps coming. So I use the Arbalest on him. And for the shield guys, we're just going to use old Faithful Kick and repost every time. Trivializes the enemies with shields in this game, I'm telling you. Now, we're going to ambush some more enemies by taking this path. We'll get the jump on them from behind. They'll never see us coming. Now, these enemies will see you coming. Now, you can shoot them with Arbalest, and as they're rearing up to throw their spears, if you hit them just before they try to throw it, they'll just have to redo their animation just like that. There's nothing they can do. And when using Arbalest, always try to make sure you have full health, because you're going to get more damage out of the sword ring. Right here we can just drop down and sneak attack this guy, although I didn't do the backstab because he was facing me. Same with this guy. You could try to backstab him by getting close. If we had the lingering Dragon Crest ring, we could definitely own this area. We'll get it, but we have to finish Orbek's quest first. And I came to the DLC very early, so if you did come to this DLC with the lingering Dragon Crest ring, you could Metal Gear this area pretty easily. There's two enemies here. Again, well, I think we're just going to go in with the Demon Fist and just try to take them both out. And the tree got in our way. But yeah, now of course I have this guy, man. I hate this guy, I tell you. Now, this guy don't see you, so we're just gonna... He got his back to you, so we're just gonna sneak attack him. Now, below him, there's a cave with two enemies, but we're gonna avoid those. Just backstab this guy. No problem. Now, get behind this tree and snipe this guy that's next to the bell. He's already started throwing his spears, so he's a pain in the butt if you go down there. He's just gonna shoot at you over and over. So deal with him. And drop down here. There's a torch guy off to the right and a Titanite chunk. So you definitely want to go to the right there. If you don't have another chunk to upgrade Arbalest, you can do it now. And you'll want it for the boss, that's for damn sure. Just going to go in with this Demon Fist here and take this guy out. Now here's the chunk over here. You want to take this path up. This bell is like a reference point. You can sneak attack this guy. Well, he sees us now. Well, we got the jump on him. Two strong attacks with the double-handed. Double hand the Chaos Blade and do the R2s, you're going to do a lot of damage. They'll never last. You don't have to come down this way. I don't even know what I was doing here. Ignore this part. You don't have to shoot these guys. I totally screwed up here. It's not the path you want to take. This is the path you want to take right over there to the right. Yeah, he ran me through. Yeah, this is the path you want to take. Don't even deal with those guys. This guy's just sitting there waiting to ambush you. Don't let him do it. Now, there's another hidden area that we're not going to, with a ton of Forlorn, and they're very strong enemies, and I don't want to deal with them. I tried to deal with them, but they are too strong and too annoying to deal with right now. Our objective is to open up the boss and that's not going to help us. So there's some weapons and some items, I'm sure, but we're not dealing with them. The dogs, there's going to be another dog down here, and a follower with a torch, and you'll actually get the torch that they use down here. But that's a dog that will come to the wolf's aid once they call for help. But if you take them out down here, they can't ambush you from the backside. And there's your torch. Now for the next part, we're just going to kill some wolves, and then we're going to run. We're not going to engage the Forlorn because they're too much to deal with, in my opinion. They're very strong enemies, very annoying enemies. And at this point, like I said, our objective is to get to the boss, and I just didn't want to waste time with it. They're going to call for help, so some more wolves are going to come. Just wait for them. Now we're just going to run. Stick to this path. There's an area off to the left there that has an item, but it's guarded by a Forlorn, and we don't want to deal with him. You want to take this path here, and you're going to run past this guy, and the Forlorn that has the exploding arrows just going to run past him, and you'll see the item here. You'll drop down here. Now, he won't aggro all the way into this next area, so you can just run until you get to the cave. But we'll need to redo our items here. You'll want the torch. You'll need to put the torch in the left hand and the arbalist in the right hand, because you want to be able to shoot the bugs but have the added protection of the torch. Because just like those leech enemies that we saw in the Cathedral of the Deep, these bugs will land on your head and infect you with leeches, and you'll constantly be bleeding out. So you don't want to deal with that. So arbalist in the right hand and torch in the left hand. And of course, you'll need to use Demon Fist too as a secondary weapon, or Chaos Blade. And see, they'll get on your head and they'll infect you with the leeches, but with the torch equipped, they're just going to go right off of you. The bleed meter will not continuously increase. You don't want to ignore these enemies, though. They don't seem to lose aggro, so they'll just continuously attack you. And there's a buttload of them downstairs. But we're not going to engage them. Our next objective is just to open up the path, the shortcut, back to the church. But if you take this path, you can shoot them, and they'll never see you coming. You want to stick to this side here. Try not to fall off. And in the back area here, there is an entrance that will lead back to the church. Once you open the door, you're gold. Now we have to activate a contraption to unlock the boss fight. The easiest way to get to this contraption is to just follow the path I'm taking. Don't engage with the enemies. So you'll see a chain on the wall here, on this column. That's a reference point for you. You'll need to drop down and then turn around, and the contraption is right there on the pillar. You can't miss it. Just activate it and then bone out of here. Because there are an excessive amount of these bugs in this area, and they will not take kindly to you interrupting their slumber or whatever they're doing down here. So just get to the stairs over here, and I just like to get out and go to Firelink from here. I didn't hit the right bonfire, but edit it out. So we're in Firelink here. We're doing our last prep before the boss, because this boss, guys, is one of the hardest in the Soul series, according to some people, and I have to agree. Even though I've come up with a pretty good strategy for taking out this boss, it's still hard regardless. Especially for a newcomer, it can be quite overwhelming. We're going to level up endurance again. And we're going to use some souls to level up yet again. We want to get our endurance a little bit up here. I want to get it to at least 20, and then we'll start investing in faith. And then intelligence. Because one of our whips will scale with intelligence, but it actually is one of the best whips in the game too, the Witch's Locks, but we're not going to invest in intelligence for quite a while. Right now, we want to get our endurance up. Having it up just a little bit is going to help us in this fight. And again, bolts. I cannot stress how important bolts are in this boss fight for the second phase. You want to have the large bolts as well. It's going to make this second phase of this boss so much easier. But there are 3 phases to this boss fight, which is why it's so difficult for a lot of players. But the good thing for us is we have the whip, and the whip is her kryptonite. She can't handle the whip, because when we hit her with the whip, it will stun her, and we can follow up with 3, maybe even 4 additional shots. So that's what makes this fight easy for us. Although we still have to know her moveset and everything. And it's kind of hard for me to talk about this in one video, but for the build, we need the whip, we need the Chaos Blade, and we need Arbalest. Most definitely Arbalest. For the rings, you want to make sure you have the sword ring for sure. Make sure you have the large and standard bolts. Don't use the wood bolts. You want the stronger of your bolts. Have the Chloranthy ring. You want the Hornet ring, and you want the sword ring for sure. And whenever you're using Arbalest, make sure you try to have full health when you're using Arbalest. It'll help you so much more. You'll do more damage to the boss. And you'll use the Estus ring for additional Estus heals. Now, I did die once. I thought I had her on the first try, but I died when she had like 1 hit left. So the fog wall is already here. Now what you want to do is pop a couple of bolts into her when she puts both of her hands on her scythe. Or when she charges you. By doing this, when she goes invisible, you'll be able to see where she is, regardless if you didn't see the puff of snow indicating where she's at. You'll be able to see the arrows sticking in her. So, you can see it right there. If she's close to a wall, don't try to do a backstab. But ideally, you want to do a backstab on her because you're going to use the Hornet Ring, and then you can follow up with some other attacks. Now, when you hit her once with the whip, you can usually hit her 2 to 3 times. Maybe even more. You'll have to kind of get good at dodging her regular scythe attacks, but when she goes invisible, she'll either go behind you or to the left or to the right. Now, if she goes behind you, it's easier to get to her because you can just pan the camera immediately and see where she landed. And that's it. The first phase is easy because she gives herself away too much. For the second phase, Arbalest for the win. Arbalest, Arbalest, Arbalest. Start pounding the father with large bolts from a distance as soon as he starts the phase. He'll bang his pot 3 times, and then he'll have to rest, and then he'll come at you either crawling or charging you again, and just keep eye on both the father and Sister Fried, because that's the part that's hard about this fight, is dividing your attention between the two of them. Now, when he does his breath like this, his fire breath, you can actually separate Sister Fried from you for a while and get a few shots in if you want, but getting close to the father is not recommended. And you'll see I make a mistake there by getting too close to him. Now, after a while, she'll heal him. And see, you can go over there and backstab her if you want, but I found that it's better to just go in and hit him. But right here, I made a mistake because he's going to do a massive AoE attack. It takes away so much health right there. And I don't recommend... Don't get close to the father. I made a mistake there. I should have went for Sister Fried. Whenever she starts to try to heal him, go for her. Don't go for him. I just thought I was too far away that time. Again, Arbalest is going to be the easiest way to kill this guy, no doubt. If you want, you can use your weapon art to try to charge Sister Fried and get a shot in her that way, but not recommended. Just keep pounding the father with large bolts. And if you have full health, you'll be doing the maximum amount of damage to him. You want to be at full health when shooting him. She's already... You'll hear a little ching sound. That's going to tell you that she is trying to heal him. So she's trying to heal him right now. But I didn't get to her again. It's better to just go for her. But again, I just started shooting him. You can tell he's being healed here. But I took that extra opportunity to pump some more bolts into him. I don't know where she came from that time. And that's it. Arbalest makes the second phase so much easier. And it will help you in the third phase as well. The third phase is the most difficult, by far, because she is uber aggressive. She has magic attacks that will take 90% of your health if you get hit by this one in particular. When she goes invisible, you must find her. If you don't, she's going to do a massive attack that will take, like I said, 90-something% of your health. She will always open with that slam attack. You can run underneath her to avoid it. Now, if her scythe glows like that, make sure you shoot her with Arbalest before she can get to you. It will stop her in her tracks. Arbalest will save you in this fight. If she goes invisible, though, you must find her. So know where the path is and find her. Keep the pressure on her. Don't let her go into her magic attack. She's doing it now, so we're going to backstab her. And once she backstab her, you can follow up with some whip shots. When she finishes some attack combos, you can go in for another couple whip shots. But all you got to do is hit her once. And then that means you're going to hit her at least 2 more times. Because the whip will stun her. The ice is hard to deal with because it doesn't give you much time to get away. I might actually recommend putting on the chill bite ring here. Just because in this phase it's so hard to avoid. It gives you very little window to get through it. You just want to keep using the double one-handed R2s on her whenever she finishes an attack combo. She won't last long if you keep doing this. But if you're scared, back up and use Arbalest. Like right now I'm about to die, so I had to heal. But back up and use Arbalest. Just wait for her to charge you. And then pound her with the bolt as she's charging, and it will stop her in her tracks. But the best thing to do is continue to keep the pressure on her with the whip. And use your bolts when you can. And that's it. It will take practice, guys. One video cannot do it justice. It's a very tough fight. Now, you didn't see it pop up because it was in my first encounter with her, but you get a Titanite slab for beating the second phase. So once you kill Father Ariandel, you will get a Titanite slab. And now we're going to go get our third Titanite slab from our friend in the Corvian settlement. He won't be hanging out in his house, though. He'll be standing outside his front door, so just make sure not to kill him. Don't hit him. So now we'll be able to upgrade 3 weapons. I already have the whip at plus 10. We're going to get the Arbalest to plus 10 and the Chaos Blade to plus 5. So that's 3 weapons right there already. And when we get to the Ring City DLC, pretty soon we'll get another slab and we'll use it on the Demon Fist. But we have some souls to spend as well, so let's go ahead and do that and get our weapons tapped out. And we're going to buy some blooming purple moss from the merchant before we leave, because in the next area there's a boss that I struggled with more than any boss in this game. And I have completed this game, but I struggled more on this boss than the Nameless King, Medir, this Lord of Cinder, which I didn't even die once to the Lord of Cinder. I killed him on my first try. But Medir and all those other bosses, no. This guy took more time than any of the others. Now, for purchasing here, we're going to buy some Alluring Skulls and some Blooming Purple Moss. I'm going to get at least 10 of them, just because. And The alluring skulls will actually come in handy. I found a use for them, believe it or not. And of course, bolts. We're going to go get some bolts. Well, actually, we don't. We're not. Let's go ahead and upgrade. Endurance again. We want to get it to 20. And now we can level up one more time. Endurance at 17, not too bad. In the next episode, guys, we're going to be going into the Ring City DLC. Not for the faint of heart. This is an in-game area that is very difficult, but we're going to get through it Indiana Jones style. See you guys then.